What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. So we had a player that we drafted last year that got some quick recognition from Rich Media during the offseason as a surprise standout. And while he didn't garner as much attention as any of the undrafted free agent receivers, Jermaine Johnson, who looked like he definitely has gotten quicker and more explosive. Michael Clemens with his transformation, Garrett Wilson with his transformation. All of these other players, this particular guy, Max Mitchell, flew under the radar. But for him to get called out, and I don't think it's just from a health perspective, is huge news to me, considering the fact that during OTAs, you don't expect much, if not any, offensive line versus defensive line contact for the most part. There's no pads, so it's really a useless exercise outside of maybe trying to work on some technique things, which, are probably better spent during positional drills. So I got excited to hear this news. So Rich Cimini specifically said Max Mitchell missed time last season with a knee sprain and a hereditary blood clotting condition, rebounded with a strong offseason. Mitchell, who started 5 games in 2022 at right tackle, will compete for that job in training camp. He was in the midst of a solid rookie year when clots were discovered in one of his lungs and his right calf, ending his season. He can manage the condition with medication, which will allow him to continue his career. So a couple of things there. As I mentioned, with OTAs and how offensive linemen are used and what they spend their time doing, I think it's significant that he was called out to be a standout in any sense, right? You didn't really get a lot of that from any other offensive lineman. We talked about Mekhi Becton's transformation quite a bit. We've been concerned about Dwayne Brown and where he's at in his recovery, since we're not sure if he'll be able to start right away during training camp. But we haven't really heard about anybody else. ABT got a little bit of a call out for being active early during training camp while he's still recovering. But other than that, there hasn't been much. It's not like we got news like Max Mitchell is dominating guys at the line of scrimmage or anything like that. So that's not the point. But still, I want to take it with a grain of salt, but I think it is big enough news because this is a guy that the entire plan with, when you spend a midday pick on an offensive line member, if they can't start it right away, the general consensus is you expect these guys to be long-term starters at some point, right? Worst case scenario, you're looking at a long tenured swing guard or tackle, right? But with Max Mitchell, we got to see him for those 5 games last year. 3 of them definitely went better than others. One of them, his first start, didn't look too great, but it wasn't egregious. And then, of course, we had the one once he had a little bit of a break. And then, now I get the sense that he was impacted by that blood clotting and things that we've seen. But all in all, we're talking about a guy that, from his scouting reports and everything that we knew about him, because he was a surprise selection for us, athleticism was his calling card. He's not overly powerful. He's probably not even functionally strong. So it's not like we're going to see him out here pancaking people left and right, pulling a Mekhi Becton and just dropping people at the line of scrimmage. But he's a guy that within our zone-based scheme, you felt really, really good about being able to achieve some high-level performances. And we got a little taste of what that can be. And keep in mind, he was supposed to have a redshirt season his rookie year, so he really never should have seen the field while he got a chance to, beef up, work on his technique, polish some of those aspects of his game. But, coming from his conference, and I want to say he was from the Sun Belt, but nonetheless, he was dominating college for what he was able to do, which is what we've seen Joe Douglas kind of focus on with these lower tier guys. He picks, the best of the bunch that he can get from those conferences. Max Mitchell is one of those dudes, and I still expect big things. Right now, the rumors that are going out there is that if Dwayne Brown does indeed get a chance to hit the field immediately during training camp, Mekhi Becton probably doesn't have an actual competition. He'll be fighting for his life on the right side of the offensive line with Max Mitchell and Billy Turner. And some people think, especially with the way that Max Mitchell performed last year, I know he has some fans in the building, that he could go out there and potentially beat out these guys. Now, realistically, if Mekhi Becton is moving to the right side, I expect him to win. I know a lot of us are concerned because that is the side that he also fractured the kneecap on and had some of the issues with. But from a physical standpoint, Mekhi Becton has everybody else in that offensive line room beat at the tackle position. Technique-wise, is maybe up for question. So this is where Max Mitchell can make up a lot of ground for sure. He's a natural right tackle by trade, so you feel good about his chances. But Max Mitchell is a guy that I think we could see him starting down the line. I mean, Mekhi Becton may be done after this year with us, and so while we're just trying to get the best five offensive linemen out there, Max Mitchell is a name that we can hear starting for us for the next 3 to 5 years if things go his way. So I'm really excited to see what happens during training camp. There's no signs that he's being held back by his condition or anything of that matter. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Max Mitchell, what would you like to see done with him? Is he our main swing tackle, or is this a guy that you can see actually going out there and winning a starting job? I'll catch you guys again. Peace.